in the words of Snoop Dogg, make money, money, make money, money, money. You remember that scene from Old School where Snoop Dogg's out there and Will Ferrell comes out, and remember that?
God, I haven't seen that movie in a while. I love that
School?
movie.
That's a top 5 comedy of the 2000s.
I know. I need to watch it. I just rewatched. God, what was the one we just watched? There's so many of those good ones. Oh, last night I watched Vacation, the remake of that. That's pretty good, actually.
The remake of Vacation, the Ed Helms one. I kind of remember. I've never seen it. I don't believe.
It's so funny though. You watch those movies with a different lens now. In 2022, you're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. You can't make fun of that. You can't say that. It's like, oh, we're canceled. What do it?
And that's only been like 7-8 years ago that came out, right? So
yeah.
Wow. How things change in a hurry around in the good old US of A. And we live here for the most part, man. This is great. It's great to be here. Great to be talking sports betting. As someone aptly put it, and this is why we always give a disclaimer, because we're here. We try to entertain. We try to have fun. I think, Chuck, you so eloquently said that someone said they really enjoy the show, but we suck at betting.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That was a good analysis. I was like, you know what? That's fair. My bets have not done so well. I'm hoping this is the week. I'm playing a little safer with the bets. I'm hoping that they actually hit. It's not going to win you as big, but hopefully you get like 3 or 4 out of 5 and you'll be up in the long run.
That's kind of the plan, right? You play the long game. Football's a long season in college and pro, and you try to just have fun with it. You try to enhance your entertainment value each and every week with $20 on a game, maybe make a parlay. That's what we do here. That's what we showcase kind of the games that we play and just give you a better understanding of what we're doing and what maybe you want to do to have more fun and to engage with the season. That's about all you can do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was up last year at the end of the season, I was up like $1,000 or something like that. So it's like, you just do a little 10, 20 here, 30 here. It's like, hopefully at the end of the year, you're up. And also I think you get better as the season goes on, because the first few weeks is the hardest. That is so hard to know what teams are going to do. Now you kind of have a little bit better idea, but I still think some teams are going to change. I mean, do you really think the Giants and the Jets are going to end up with winning seasons? Like, I don't know. Maybe
those are good examples. Just like a couple weeks ago, we said Kansas was 5-0. Are they going to be a playoff contender? Well, 2 weeks later, we know that that's not the case. So you still battle that a little bit each week, because I think this week, especially as we'll look at in the NFL, man, there are a lot of evenly matched games, a lot of games where, teams are 1 point favorites or, 1.5 point favorites and very evenly matched, or maybe we feel like the wrong team's favorite. So that could play a hand here in our upset picks this week, because there's a lot of them that I look at and I just go, I just don't like that at all. So usually Vegas knows more than us, but sometimes, just sometimes, you can beat those the Vegas bookies there. That's what we try to do here.
Yeah, I think lately it seems like this season going with the underdogs is actually the safer pick, because a lot of the pro and college games have been closer than the spreads they're giving, especially the NFL.
Interesting. That is sometimes the case. You're right. And you're right. At this point in the college game, you look at who are the elite teams, who are the teams vying for the college football playoff, and you can sometimes ride those teams. Although, last week you had a battle of Titans, Tennessee and Alabama. That was crazy.
I took Tennessee, and that
was a great, because that's a tough one to make, because they hadn't beat them in 15 years. You see the offense, you see the possibility there, but man, to actually pull the trigger, that was gutsy.
Yeah, because what was the spread? It was something ridiculous. It was like 17 or something. I was like, I don't think Bama's that dominant this year. I mean, they barely beat Texas. They didn't beat Tennessee, and then I don't know who they have left on the schedule, but they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible, and we'll see kind of how things shake out. Hi, Wendy Hearn, good young lady there who's just a loyal listener and follower. We're always a big fan of Wendy. She's in fact started her own show. Be on the lookout for that, because the Wendy Hearn, I mean, you talk about the ladies of the Chiefs Kingdom. Wendy Hearn, there's no one like Wendy when it comes to this. So to see what she unveils, oh my goodness.
Cool.
Can't wait. So that's great stuff. Wendy, hello to you. Hopefully we'll win you some money this week. I don't know. Like, I think Wendy lives in Canada, so I don't know. Chuck, you're from Seattle.
Yeah.
The Seattle area. Is sports betting? It doesn't seem like something Canada would be in on, having sports betting legal.
Hello.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, it's pesky technology. Do you think sports betting is even legal in Canada anywhere? Is that a thing?
Ooh, Canada, I don't know. Washington State, I don't think it is, except at the reservation, Native American, in whatever they're called, those ones, the
Oh,
Native
yeah.
People's Casino. I think you have to go in there and do it like in person. You can't do it from the apps on your phone,
Gotcha.
which I think is amazing. I love the apps. I think that makes it so much. That was one thing I hated about sports betting, was I hated going up to the sports betting people at the sports books in Vegas or like in Laughlin or whatever. They're always the biggest dicks. They're always like, what do you, and then like you'd ask them like, am I doing this right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you work at a sports book. Can you help me out a little? Like, they just are so angry. I don't know what it was about that job, but
You're right, though. I noticed that too, and it would always make me just a little more nervous because it's like I think I know what I'm talking about, but I'm like, okay,
right.
is the spread right? Am I looking at this right? And they don't want. It's just they want you to make a decision, give them your money, and then back in the day in Vegas, you'd make any bet, $20, doesn't matter. They'd give you a drink ticket. Oh, not so much anymore, my friend. No, you got to spend at least $100 to get a free $4 beer at the sports books in Vegas.
Yeah, ridiculous. I love the app so much, but it's such a much more convenient thing. And also, you can bet like from the comfort of your home, like a minute before the game starts, or even you can do the live betting. Have you ever done that where you're betting in the game?
Sure.
That's fun.
That's what makes, I mean, the interaction, people are interacting with their devices all day to have these, companies be able to put that in the palm of your hands and be able to make that just a part of your social media experience or whatever you're doing on your phone or tablet. Like, oh man, it's a winner. And it's been a winner here. Of course, I live in Missouri on the Kansas side. It's been a big winner. So hopefully Missouri gets it together. I don't know. I don't really know what side of the political spectrum that sports betting falls under, but whichever side it is, it just needs to be legal. I don't know who to blame.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually the most popular thing is like the place that has the least amount of rules, but also like you got to have smart rules. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of things that are, I mean, if it's too crazy, if you have chaos and anarchy, then people don't like that either. But like in terms of like sports betting, I guess it made sense to religious people in the early 1900s or something like that. Like, oh no, you will not bet, Stephen, you will stay home. And I don't know who the people that, because I don't know anybody that's like against sports betting. I mean, I'm sure there's people that have been addicted to sports gambling and lost their house or whatever. And, but they're probably going to do that anyways. If they're that addicted, they'll move to Vegas or they'll bet illegally or.
Yeah, I think those things are such the exception. Just like in anything, in any risk we take, there's people on the road driving 120 and there's, one person can cause quite, a big problem. But it's all about mitigating risks. It's all about people just smoked cigarettes for years and still do, weirdly. That's just things evolve and change. So hopefully that becomes more of a thing because I think it keeps people, fantasy football was so big, but I'll be honest with you, Chuck, since sports betting became, kind of took over, like fantasy football just doesn't have the same caveat for me anymore.
No, me either.
Really, is that
because it's like you're paying it's a good deal because you pay like what, $20 or $50 or whatever your entry fee is, and you're good for the entire year, but you don't get that you don't get a winning thing until the very end, and that's only the top 3 usually. So yeah, and it's a lot of work to fantasy. You got to always be on top of the team. If you forget to replace a player, they're injured. I remember this year I had Kamara, and he was playing in the London game, and they said he's probably going to play. And I was like, okay. So I went to bed. I woke up. It was like 7 a.m. The game had started. It was 30 minutes in. They're like, he's not playing. I was like, great. So there's nothing I could do about that. So what am I going to set an alarm at 6 a.m. on a Sunday to change my fantasy football play? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the entertainment that provides during a certain point in time that I think that it was, maybe had more of a hold, but now the sport, the live betting, like you said, I just think that people were more engaged with that.
Yeah.
But
because you can bet, like if you like Kamara or whoever your fantasy player is that you like, and you think they're going to have a good game, you can bet. I want Kamara to have, I think he's going to have a touchdown and 80 yards rushing, and you can bet on that and you'll get paid at the end of the game. You don't have to wait till the end of the season or whatever. It's
nice. And then you're out of it. You lose 5-6 games, you're just done. You're just not paying attention anymore. I mean, there's a lot to it. So I've moved away from fantasy football for sure. So with that said, let's get into our picks this week. Noah, not with this. So we're going to breeze through. We're going to breeze through. Yeah, we do. We're going to breeze through Noah's a little bit because, he's not here to explain them, but we'll just kind of see what we've got here. This looks like the big college parlay. Oh, I have a lot of these teams probably on mine. Chuck, maybe you will as well. But man, we're packaging up for plus 307. Notre Dame, Oregon State, Maryland, Wake Forest, Alabama, Penn State, Clemson, Cincinnati. I've got to be honest.
I have a lot of those on mine
too.
Right.
So
the two that I don't, and I was too scared, is the Clemson and the Alabama because, first of all, like I said, Bama lost last week, and Mississippi State. Mike Leach, he's a Pirate, he's a gambler. I feel like he could pull the upset. And Syracuse, I think they upset Clemson 5 years ago when they sucked, and now Syracuse is actually good. So I think that game could be tight.
Yeah, I've been riding Clemson, and we'll get to this a little later. Yeah, I've been kind of riding Clemson. It's been working out. We'll see if this is the kind of the crossroads for them, but Noah's got that plus 307. So let's take a look at the NFL. The wild card is an NFL flyer, which is, oh my gosh, this plays plus 1038.
Wow.
Steelers, Cowboys, Bengals, Titans.
And he's taking these on money line?
I think this must be.
He thinks the Steelers will upset the Dolphins. Don't they have Tua back or no?
That's still, I believe Skylar Thompson's back in here this week. I think we had some, Tua was talking about some of the symptoms he had, which were crazy. And then this big one, this is another one, plus 1909 for the Ravens, Patriots, Jets, Giants. Wow. We just asked, are the Jets and Giants for real? Well, he's got those, and Chiefs, Raiders, and Bucks. So, I mean,
those all look like winners to me, though. I think these are both good parlays, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the thing with the Steelers is a little iffy. It is funny though. Did you see that meme? I don't know if I sent it to you. It was like, it said Tom Brady really ruined his marriage to lose to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, that's
funny.
It is. There's a lot of Tom Brady jokes going around, but if you're going to get right, you're going to get back on track. The Carolina Panthers are just the team for you.
Right.
So this makes sense here in a big way. So now let's go on to the upsets and the locks. Now we're going to see here in just a minute. I think that I'm going to agree with this upset special. The Ole Miss Rebels are an underdog on the road, and Ole Miss is undefeated on the road at LSU, man. I think LSU is just got a big one over Florida, but they've been up and down. Brian Kelly, we'll see what they got. I'm going to you may see a repeat of this upset special later on. So maybe something to think about, guys.
Yeah, was LSU the one? Were they the ones that lost to Florida that first week and lost me a bunch of money?
LSU lost to Florida State, and then
then
they came back to beat Florida last week. So we'll see about that one. Ole Miss on the road. Maybe people just not trusting Lane Kiffin and this Ole Miss team on the road just yet. But I like Ole Miss big time in that game. So we'll get back to that one too. I think that could appear once again. The lock here is Patriots over Bears, minus 9.5.
I like that though, because you know what? The Patriots, if you look at them this year, they've beaten a lot of crappy teams by a lot.
And here's another one.
Here's another one. So it's like I think they beat the Lions and the Browns and they killed them. And this is in New England, I believe, right?
Yeah. So
I think this is a good one. I like it. I don't
Bailey
like
Zappi is getting. No, God, no. And Bailey Zappi's playing some good football there.
Yeah, underrated.
So, Chuck, let's kind of move on to you here, and we're going to start with your college pick here.
Yeah, so, I mean, some of the same ones that we just saw, the Wake Forest, Maryland, Oregon State. I mean, gosh, Notre Dame, you hope they can beat UNLV. I know they've had some issues, but UNLV is not known for football. So, these other ones are all just pretty heavy favorites. I think the smallest margin is the University of Texas San Antonio. I don't know. I'm taking a flyer on a lot of these teams. I don't watch every Charlotte game or,
Well, come on. What are you doing with your life?
I know. I mean, they're all pretty heavy favorites. And, but yet, it's not going to pay a lot. So, but I'm going with the safer stuff this week. So I think this is a pretty safe one. You only got 8 teams that got to win. I mean, some of these are like Ohio State, Notre Dame. I mean, those are, you figure, in Oregon State, those 3, like you figure those are pretty safe. But again, it only takes one. We say that every week, and sometimes that happens. So
right.
But overall, pretty safe. And the same with NFL. I'm playing a little safer, only doing 3 teams. But again, we just talked about those Patriots. I think the Patriots, and take it especially on a money line. I mean, can't see them losing. Maybe it's closer than 10, but I don't see them losing. And the same, the Cowboys, the Lions, they've had some offensive games where they've scored a lot of points, but they just can't put it together and win one. I don't see them going in on the road against the Cowboys and doing that, especially with Dak Prescott back. And they still got, if Prescott sucks or something, they could put Cooper Rush in. I think he's going to be able to, they'll be able to handle the Lions. Cowboys have a pretty good defense, especially at home. And then, the Buccaneers, look, Tom Brady lost to Mitch Trubisky, but I mean, these Panthers they're a mess. I mean, this team, they fired their coach. They're on their like third or fourth string quarterback. I think Tom Brady's going to have them for lunch. I think could be a blowout, but they'll definitely at least get a win, I think.
And the lock.
My lock, UCLA, Oregon. I think this is pretty safe. If you look at how many points these teams have scored, I think Oregon, they played Wazoo and it was like 44-41. So that's 85 points. And Wazoo doesn't have that good of an offense. UCLA's got a crazy offense. So I think 70 is more than reasonable I think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be fun to root for that over too. I think I did the math. I think that's like 17 points per quarter. I think that's going to happen. It could go to overtime too. So that's last week. I got really close with the, I think it was Oklahoma State and TCU.
Yes. So that's where I had the under, you had the over, and it went to overtime. So I lost.
It went to overtime and went way over the over. But if it hadn't gone to overtime, I think it might've been a push at one. That would have been interesting if we both got our money back, but
that was a crazy one here.
This will be a fun game to watch and root for. And then, so my upset special, I mean, not a big upset. Again, I'm playing it safer, but I think the Jets can take the Broncos. I don't know what's going on with the Broncos this year, but it's amazing that Russell Wilson is sucking after we traded him. I was so sad. We lost our star quarterback. Now I'm so happy to see him lose. And the worse that the Broncos do, the better that the Seahawks draft pick will be. So it's been fun to root against the Broncos every week. And I just have this, I feel like this is another one where I don't know if the Jets are for real, but I think they're better than the Broncos. They're doing okay. They're not great on offense, but their defense is getting it done and they're running the ball effectively. They got what's that guy's name? Breece Hall, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Breece Hall from Iowa State. And like you said, right now, Zach Wilson is the better Wilson.
Yeah, he's the better Wilson. So who knew? But hey, I'll take it. I know it's on the road. I think the Broncos fans, they're going to be booing the Broncos if they even show up for this game. Russell Wilson, he just looks confused. I don't know if he's hurt or if somebody thinks it's a mental thing. I don't know what's going on, but the team is in disarray. I think that they're not happy. His teammates are not happy with him because they expect him to come in and be the savior, and they're having to carry the team and make it close. And then he can't even get it done to finish out the game. So I think, if I was on defense or offensive line, I don't know that I'm playing as hard as I normally would because I'm kind of pissed off. So I think the Jets could come. It could be a blowout even. I mean, who knows? Yeah. I hope. Yeah. I just hope they win. If the Broncos can lose again, that's great for the Seahawks. And then
for it too.
As my Seahawks, that's going to be, this is my wild card. That's right. Yeah. I don't know if this is a lock, but I think this one's pretty safe as well. You got the Seahawks. I think they're technically 6.5 point underdogs. Well, let's bump that up to 10.5. So if they lose by 10 or less, which I think is more than reasonable, you'll get your money. And also we got to have more than 43 points. I don't think that's going to be a problem. The Seahawks defense is playing better, but it's still going to give up some points, especially on the road. And the Seahawks offense, they're getting it done. They got the wide receivers. I love Kenneth Walker. He's a great running back. I was at the NFL draft. I cheered when they drafted him. I wanted him for the Seahawks. I wanted Jonathan Taylor a few years back and we missed him. So when they took Walker, I rejoiced. And I think he's going to light it up. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch.
And the Chargers are so unpredictable. I mean, they've won 3 straight, but I mean, the Texans, and then you go back to the Browns where they gave the ball away and should have lost on a missed field goal to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns missed the field goal because of course they did. Yeah. And then the Broncos here the other night on Monday Night Football, the Broncos had ample chances, of course, to win that game. And Russell Wilson, it's just not getting it done. So
neither team wanted to win for some reason. I don't know. So this could be an interesting game, but I think that the over and the spread, I think those two are pretty safe.
Well, let's see as I delve into my bag of tricks here. My wild card, we'll start with a wild card. This is kind of fun because this is the ultimate example of a wild card because I've got UCLA in the game that you're talking about. Talk about an upset special. You might just want to throw that into my upset as well, because I like UCLA to go in to beat Oregon plus the 190. Just right there, you could go right on. Look at that value you're getting, plus 190 on that. So this two pick parlays plus 454. So if you do that, packaging it with Mississippi State, Alabama, the over of 60.5, 60 and a half, I think that you got a winner there. I think that's a good, and that's a very crazy thing to be watching for. But if you would want to simultaneously watch Mississippi State, Alabama, UCLA, Oregon, and cheer for a win and an over, you'll have all the fun in the world. All you need right here. And then my upset special, if not also counting certainly UCLA, which I believe is an upset for this week. But Ole Miss, Noah had it on his. They are getting points to go at LSU. Ole Miss undefeated, number 7 in the country, going on to take on unranked LSU. It's a situation where LSU, always so good at home, but this is a very unproven LSU team. They're up and down. They're still trying to find themselves. So really like the Ole Miss Rebels here, Lane Kiffin, and quietly has done a tremendous job there in Oxford, which is a place near and dear to my heart if you've ever been there and partied with any of those co-eds. Moving on, we got an NFL and a college parlays. Chuck, these are some of my favorite parts of the show. Here's nothing really new or breaking ground from what you and Noah have picked, because I'm just doing a very boring but plays plus 253 here. So Ravens, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bucks. It's as simple as that. Package them up, win money on a parlay. Look at it. All 4 teams are favored here. The Chiefs, believe it or not, with the Niners, with at least 9 starters out of this game, only minus 150. The Chiefs are only minus 150 and a 3-point favorite on the road at San Fran. And then in the college, on the college side, Tulane. Look out for the Tulane Green Wave. They have a win over Kansas State on the road this year. They're actually in the rankings. Put them up there. They're playing the Memphis Tigers, not the best Memphis team we've seen. Missouri hosting Vanderbilt. Chuck, I've waited for it. Missouri, finally a big favorite in a game. Missouri's got to get off the schneid against an SEC opponent. That comes in the way of Vanderbilt on Saturday. At least, hopefully, I'll be there. Cincinnati, You guys talked about it. Cincinnati Bearcats now crept back into the rankings here. And then the Baylor Bears. Kansas plays at Baylor. I think Kansas, we talked about them earlier, have played their hand. They're 5-2, but they've lost their quarterback here for some significant amount of time. The Jayhawks defense is abysmal. They went and got embarrassed by Oklahoma last week, who couldn't score on anyone. The Baylor Bears are your pick here. And then I think it cuts it off there at the bottom, but I got Clemson as a part of this. You said you've got, thinking about the Syracuse Orangemen, or I'm sorry, the Syracuse Orange. Boy, that was a blast from the past. I apologize.
They changed it?
They are the Orange, buddy. They are not the Orange Men
anymore. Did they used to be the Orange Men?
They did. They sure did. Just like the St. John's used to be the Red Men. Oh, buddy, we don't do that anymore.
Why? Because it's sexist or what? What?
Like a red man was just like a red skin, basically.
Shit. Okay.
Not the guy from like the what was the old tobacco Big Chief, kind of like that.
Yeah. Or what about Chris Redman, the quarterback for the Falcons? That's a deep dive.
If anybody ever wanted to name a team after that, that would be that would talk about it. Yeah, you're right. That would be a deep dive. So
Orange Men you can't say Orange Men. You just have to say orange because
just the color orange. The orange.
Was orange. So was Orange Men? Was it a Native American reference or what?
Yeah, I believe so. And it's yes. And so we can't have that.
Are they like a fruit? They're like the oranges, like the.
Yeah, if you ever see their mascot, it's just a big orange. Like if you ever see like the Orange Bowl mascot, like that.
Huh.
So that's no to Syracuse. I'm sorry. No, we'll see. We'll see what Clemson's made of, because the ACC kind of down, kind of weak. We're gonna see what Clemson has. So last but not least, I think we have a lock here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the Minnesota Golden Gophers that we all know and love, and that is a team that has lost now 2 straight. They just lost to Purdue, I believe, and then Illinois. So coming off of 2 straight losses, this is a game where you're only getting Penn State at home minus 185. So this is the lock. This is going to be the Minnesota Golden Gophers getting beaten pretty soundly here by the Penn State Nittany Lions, who 2 losses on the year, but just coming off of a hard-fought loss to the Michigan Wolverines. But Penn State's very good under James Franklin. Penn State, That is your lock of the week. And just put that on the money line. You don't even have to go with the spread here. Just put that on the money line. That is your lock. That's paying out. That's paying you minus 185. So win a little money, have a little fun. Think there's a song in that, or is that do a little dance, make a little love? I don't know. I'm not a disco guy, Chuck, although I've gotten into it more as the years have gone by, maybe because Fozzy did that cover of ABBA's SOS. You've ever heard that? And I'm gotten into some disco in the last 10 years.
Really? I think I hate disco even more now than I did.
Interesting. I get it.
The opposite way.
It was like my least favorite genre of music, probably, if I had to just pick one. And I think slowly, like, I don't know, like ABBA, I don't know, Dancing Queen. Like I heard Rob Zombie being like that he was super influenced by ABBA and disco. And I, kind of thought about it and looked into some more. Casey and the Sunshine Band. I don't know. It's not my favorite. This isn't like Danger, Danger or something, that I put on a pedestal.
Danger is, I know, like I could not get Ted Poley to do my show. It took like 3 years. He finally said yes, but
yeah, exactly.
It was amazing.
I had to do this.
20 minutes. He said it was the best interview he'd ever had.
Yeah, he did. And I was offended because I just done an interview with him in which I coughed up some of this to do it. So if you're paying for the interview, don't you automatically have to say that was the best one, no matter what?
Yeah, that's right. Because you donated to his charity or something.
I donated. Yeah, I did. So what Chuck, for those that don't know, the Chuck Shoot podcast, which is absolutely tremendous. And you do a great job, whether it be rock and roll musicians, actors, authors, you kind of do it all. What do you got coming up? What can people be looking for here on the Chuck Shoot podcast?
I've got I don't have a lot right now, but I'm in talks with a lot of people, and I've got I think a blues musician tomorrow, and possibly another guitarist next week. And I had a comedian that's the publicist said yes, and then I haven't heard back, so I don't know when that's going to happen. And some other people that, again, I'm in talks with. I sent out so many requests yesterday. It's tough. It's a tough game. There's so much rejection, but I just keep going. I don't know why.
I'm in the same boat. I'll tell you this, Chuck. I got one. I don't have a lot of huge irons in the fire, but I got one. And I feel like that if this hits, you might have to come on and help me do it, because I'm not a big name dropper, because we don't know that this is going to happen, but I got a hold of Kenny Loggins people, and they're like, yeah, we're in, just kind of give us your numbers, give us some other interviews you've done. And so Chuck, if this happens, will you do me the honor of tag teaming that interview with me? Because Kenny Loggins, buddy, if I have to trace back my love of rock and roll music, God, it might go back to Kenny Loggins, because as a kid, I was influenced by the movies I saw. So I saw Top Gun and Footloose. The soundtracks were singularly important for me discovering rock and roll. So Kenny Loggins, in a way, is my rock god, which is hilarious because he's the only artist that you can find on 70s on 7, 80s on 8, Yacht Rock Radio, The Blend. He's covers it all. He's on every XM station.
Yeah. Well, and I like some of the, what's funny is like the song in the volleyball scene of Top Gun. That's a very underrated song.
It's amazing. Cool song. Are you kidding? He did Meet Me Halfway from the Over the Top soundtrack. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And if you look at his set list for his rock shows, a lot of those songs are now in the set list. Danger Zone, Footloose, Playing with the Boys. Meet Me Halfway. Good,
because I went and saw him like, oh God, it was like 10 years ago, and he didn't do Danger Zone. He definitely didn't do Playing with the Boys. Yeah, there was a lot of songs that he didn't do. I was kind of surprised.
I think that maybe, and hopefully, oh God, hopefully we get a chance to ask him about this, because boy, I think that like I don't know if he was kind of holding back or didn't want to maybe do some of those songs, because he has such a career as a kind of a 70s, yacht rock kind of musician, and Loggins and Messina and stuff like that. But let's just face it, a lot of people know those songs more than any others, and he's starting to play them live now. And I think because he seemed like a great guy. Chuck, hopefully it happens. I'm just throwing this out because you're my buddy. I want to do this. I think it'd be fun now, especially knowing that you've seen him live. Yeah, I have not. So
yeah, he was good. He played in the one where it's like, I forget, it's a Celebrity Theater. I think it's the one. It's in the round, so it's kind of weird because like sometimes I think it goes around And so sometimes you're looking at the back of them, but it's kind of a weird.
Is that in Scottsdale there, or
it's
where?
in Phoenix.
In
It's
Phoenix.
it's where I think George Carlin did his special there, and then we saw Louis C.K. there.
Oh, awesome.
Also, I think he was recording his special because Carlin had recorded his special there. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is wow. See, you learn something new every day. This is tremendous, and you never know what you're going to get here. So be on the lookout for the Chuck Shoot podcast, which, gosh, I mean, you never know. Sometimes it could be a couple episodes a week at least. So you
hopefully,
as fast as they come.
Ideally try to do 2 or 3 every week, but like last week I only had 1. It's just hard to get guests sometimes. And then you probably do this too, where you go, okay, well, do I want to just have a guest to have a guest?
Yeah.
Because I want to keep the show going. This isn't necessarily my top choice. Cause like, you kind of want to be true to yourself and only have people on that you're really interested in. But at the same time, it's like, I really like doing the interviews, and sometimes the people that you're not super interested in, you become more of a fan after doing the interview.
That is so true. And I have found that to be the case. And sometimes I get into it. Like, I think I had the bassist from the Toadies on a month ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know, the Toadies from the 90s are just kind of one of those bands. But like, we just got into conversations that just went, I mean, he's a huge Kiss fan, and we're going all over the place. I'm like, that's what it's about. And you make connections with people. So yeah, sometimes those are the best ones. And so I try to be open-minded and try to keep it going. And it's, especially now that we're hitting the fall and winter where there's not the tours aren't really happening. It's kind of tough. Bands
November is like usually okay, but then once December hits, I feel like I think I'm actually decided I'm probably going to either take the month of December off, or I'm only going to cut down to like 1 a week, because it's just impossible to get guests in December. I don't know what it is about that month. People want to be with their families. I thought there'd be a lot of people pushing an album or something for Christmas. But no, you don't get in much of that at all. It's weird. Well,
guys, I implore you to check out the Chuck Shoot podcast all over the place. It's very simple. You just search for the Chuck Shoot podcast and you'll get all of it. All the socials, all the stuff will pop up. So always enjoy it, Chuck. Always enjoy doing this with you here on Winter Takes It All.
Fun, yeah.
Hope to have our good friend Noah Groniger back next week. I hope he did his picks justice there, and I hope he wins big. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Winter Takes It All.
All right. Bye-bye.